So we all wake up in different stages. We all wake up to different things at different times. And something I've been seeing lately is people sharing things on social media, memes or pictures, mainly pictures, where it's so clear to me that this is most likely not real, right? So the person with the mask on reading 1984. The person getting onto, I think she was getting onto a bus, we're in full scrubs and a mask, and then glad wrapping herself into her seat. So I look at those things and I think they're a piss take and they're intended to trigger, right? They're intended to trigger like some response from you. And then people share them and go, oh my God, look at this idiot, right? Imagine this. And then other people say, oh my God, that's it. You know, the human race is, it's too stupid to survive, and, you know, or whatever, right? Use it as a way to like feel despondent or feel hopeless, or use it as a way to like kind of like have an angry response, right? And so I want to remind you of this. I've spoken about it before. Imagine you're sitting and you're watching a magician, and you're watching the magic trick where the magician saws a woman in half, takes the saw, cuts her in half, and then separates the two sides of the box that she's in. If you do not know that that is a magic trick, you are going to be horrified. You might be sick, you might scream, you might cry, you might get angry, you might want to attack that man. And every single one of those responses would be like going up. Think of it as you're tipping that, right? Because it's easier for us often, and especially at the start of waking up, it's easier to think of things in terms of currency and money than it is to think of things in terms of energy. So imagine that at the end of the show, depending on how horrified, how angry, how frightened you were, that's how much money you then tip as you're walking out of that act. Whereas if you're sitting watching the same act, but you know that it's a trick, you know that it's intended and designed to look a certain way, but it's not real, then you don't react. And therefore, when you walk out, you're not paying any money for the show. This is the same thing with all the things that are sent out into our daily lives. The things on the news, the things in media, the things in movies, the things people say, the things you're seeing in your social media scroll. They are often, not always, but here is where the important aspect of discernment comes in. Because I want you to start thinking about where you spend your money. Where you give your energy. And when you are triggered by every little thing, even though you don't really know whether it's real or whether it's a magic trick, and you don't really know what its intention is, because you haven't yet developed that discernment, then you are giving all of your money to that thing. And if you can start to think of that, sorry, that's my dog on the beanbag. If you can start to think of that and start to shift into that as, oh, this is where I leak my energy. This is where my energy gets triggered and it starts leaking. And I am feeding this. Just like if I were to watch a magic trick and then give lots of money into a hat as I walk out of that place, I am physically helping to feed that magician. When I am highly triggered, when I am highly reacting to what I am seeing, then I am feeding that energy. I am feeding that portal. I am feeding that timeline, right? You can start to think of it in higher and higher And I don't mean higher necessarily as any kind of like superior thing, but like deeper, different levels. You can start to think of it at different levels. I'm feeding that timeline. I'm feeding that portal opening, and more of us are able to go through. I am feeding that energy. I am feeding that vibration, that frequency. And if that starts to get confusing, bring it back to money and think, if I had a big basket of money, and everything that I react to, everything particularly, like the more it angers me, the more it horrifies me, the more it gets me to respond. And this is not to say do not respond. Okay, your ego might now be going, what, so am I just meant to be neutral and not respond to anything and look at everything and go, it's not real? No. Okay, you're more grown up than that. No. The less you will kind of be flared into being horrified, being frightened, the less you're manipulated for anything to be able to press a button, go, right, feel this now, and now feel this, and now feel this. The less you are giving your money to things that you actually don't want to support. Okay. Let me know if this is helpful in the comments below. Let me know if this helps you to be more conscious in your day, helps you to develop more discernment, because discernment is the key moving forward. Much love.